This the link up. This the link up. This the link up. Welcome to the link up. This the link up. This the link up. This the link up. Welcome to the link up. Oh. Yes. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the LinkUp podcast with your three co-hosts now. I feel like that's why I got to officially say Mr. King, Kana, and DJ Woods, or Woodsy Pop this time again.
First of all, I only like it when ladies call me Woodsy Pop.
Okay then. So I'm stop.
Mr. King,
I ain't gonna never say that again. Okay,
Mr. King, you better stop calling me that. People gonna think wrong things about you.
Okay then. Well, no, it's officially clear. I mean, that's the last time you'll ever hear that name on the podcast again.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, you're hearing the voice of our three hosts, and
all good, everybody.
Yeah, and the first thing we need to address right away, and before we get into any topics today, is we would like to apologize for the poor quality audio and the sudden abrupt ending of the video, and we kind of said that a little bit in the past in the post from the previous one, but I just wanted to explain a little further like what exactly happened. And it's not that
we be lazy or we ain't trying to progress.
It was a new problem, something that we never occurred before, because we have had episodes where we didn't have any video and stuff like that, where like there was technical difficulties with the video, but this was the first time it happened with the audio. So like at the end of recording an hour and a half, I think it was probably like an hour and a half conversation again, or something close to that, we lost it because the main reason was there wasn't enough space on my computer. Like the drives were set up wrong, and it was some like I was never expecting it to happen, and that's why it happened. But since it happened, precautions have been taken to ensure that does not happen again. Because I feel like it is a podcast, and podcasts are audio. Like audio is the main thing in a podcast, so it really I felt like I disappointed the fans and thing when that happened. So it's like you have to make sure that does not happen again. So rest assured that precautions and steps have been taken to ensure that it does not happen again. So yeah, now that that's out of the way a little bit,
pretty much, and and for this week, I guess you can see that we're gonna have a different camera angle again. That's just because
bye,
stuff happens.
Because we're trying to make it up and stuff like that, trying to give a little extra content due to the way the last one went. We kind of speed up our schedule when we were shooting the next one and stuff like that. And I mean, it was just poor planning on my part. I can't blame nobody else in that. But the visual equipment wasn't necessarily charged and ready to go. So now we kind of substitute.
Just remember, it was Mr. King's fault.
Yeah, I'll take all the blame for that.
With that being said, we could have sent a message like, "Yo, make sure the camera charges." I can't pull the full blame on. He's a group something, but either way, those are the issues. But we're trying to make up for it still. And the fact for the not extra episode, but like I guess the different date of recording, because we're recording this on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
That's because Woods and I shall be out the country for the next 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So we're making sure that we still have enough content for everybody. I mean, for the coming weeks, and we don't skip a week or nothing like that, because, we're trying to be consistent and professional.
Yeah,
like the proper young professionals that we are. So yeah, I think that about wraps up what happened last week.
Yeah, and I mean, okay, I guess the first thing that we could get into then, now having cleared up the apologies and the whatever went wrong in the last one, the first thing we want to do is kind of continue the conversation from the last episode, because it just kind of suddenly stopped like mid conversation. Like what we just basically covered, complaining about the dump and saying everything that was wrong with politics and how that whole situation kind of got to where it is. So like one element that was missing, unless you want to add in
but I think one of the things that was cut off from the video and the audio that I think was a little bit important to mention was one of the reasons that they said was one of the problems for the dump being on fire.
Oh, the arson thing that was covered.
But the fact of management, the management of the dump sites itself. There was supposed to be cameras, 24-hour security, all those kind of things in place, but obviously they aren't. That's why this thing keeps happening. And if I'm not mistaken, today is Tuesday. Last week, Sunday, the dump was on fire again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, again. It was on fire again. And so think about it. If everybody's saying that it's arson, don't necessarily mean that it's true just because everybody's saying it. But if all the facts and all the opinions and theories lead to arson and the dump was on fire again, that just means somebody went and put it on fire again. I mean, like, think about that. That's to me, it's mind-boggling.
But even like, really if you were to explore that thought of arson, like, what would you think is a motivation to even do
politics? Politics. There's no.
So you feel like just okay, dump on fire this, so that this is a bad situation, we could blame whoever is in charge or whatever and be like, yo, this is your fault, y'all in on top of your thing.
I don't know who, because it all depends on which, I guess, quote unquote party is related to the arson, is or will be the motives for it. So, like, for instance, if it's government, if it has to do something with the current government, that is most likely they're trying to do a whole, this is a problem, we can come in, save it, heroes and stuff like that. Whereas if it's from the opposition side, it could be, look, this current government, they don't know what they're doing, they're messing up, this is a current problem, and we come and save the day. We're going to be the heroes on the White Horse and them kind of ones.
What it could also be just a company or whatever.
You wasn't speaking into the mic, so I twisted and turned.
That did make a big difference, though. Anyway, like you were saying.
What it could be is also a company or whatever dumping stuff that they're not supposed to dump.
That's another
and that causing the fires as well. So like, it could, there's a lot of possibilities. But before you draw a big conclusion, they need to actually start putting security and things like that.
Yeah, okay, yeah, cool. They have to actually
have a concrete thing so you can at least take action to stop it from then, at least.
Yeah, but or you don't find, like, especially you being from St. Martin, you know the situation a little bit more. You don't think it's a little bit funny that, like, all of a sudden around the election time, this happening again?
I understand what you're saying, and honestly, that was probably the last. Me even being a conspiracy theorist guy, the way my mind usually operates, that's usually like my first go-to thing. But in this situation, that was the last cause on my mind. Like, that was the last thing I was expecting as a possible reason. And we ain't saying that definitely is. We kind of speculating and trying to say what it could be.
I mean, granted, we 1,000 miles away. We know.
we probably the wrongest people ever. Yes, I have to bring it back from the last one. I mean, the wrongest was dropped on the last podcast. I forget in what context exactly. You had to something about writing this, and then I'd bring up, that was the wrongest. I don't know what it was, but anyway. I feel like we're the wrongest people to talk about that, but I feel like that's a little far. Like, I know people in
really?
I feel like that's going a little farther.
Really? You really think so?
In my opinion, I feel like if you put in the public health of people just so you could try to get elected as a party, and I feel like that's going a little far. And if that really is the case on the motivation, whoever it is, those type of actions do not deserve to be in politics. Do not deserve, like, whoever it is that responsible or maybe put in the call to be like, yo, I doubt is any of the people in the party themselves going there and things like that. I doubt they're risking that.
If we lead into that story, we going with that conclusion, then I highly doubt that.
I was more thinking just mischievous people that ain't got nothing to do. Is like, yo, where could we start a fire and nobody would care or whatever, and like just do it for fun? The dump would probably be the place where if you just got some mischievous teenagers.
Isn't that more a scarier thought than it actually being politically
No, not to me. Because people, like, young people do dumb shit. I think we can all agree, like, if you got people in a place and there's no recreational activities and stuff like that to occupy people's time, I believe the saying goes, like, idle hands is devil's playground or something along those lines. Is like, we've seen it many times, the amount of dumb stuff we've done simply because we chilling on the block or whatever, talking, ain't got nothing to do. We go entertain ourselves.
We never put nobody else's health at risk.
When we on the podcast, so I'm not going to get into details on all of these things. I don't know what the statute of limitations on certain things is, so I'm not going to discuss it on the podcast. But
well, you gotta remind me. We gotta remind me of those things off air, because I don't remember putting nobody else's life or like health at risk.
We've done a lot of, like, maybe not you. You may not have been present for certain things.
I was not present for a lot of shit.
The people, us, like, people from the hood have done a lot of stupid stuff. Let's just leave it at that. But that's just why I personally feel as though that could be a very likely cause. Some of the people that live in the area, maybe from Garden or town or whatever, some of the youth in that area.
But from what I can remember, like what y'all were talking about last week, there's no really structure to the dump. People just dump in.
I mean, they got people living there
everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So I really believe that it's just stuff that should not be dumped next to other stuff like batteries and thing. And when these batteries start leaking, fires will happen.
What I'm saying is definitely a possibility. No, it's definitely a possibility. But I don't know. For some reason, maybe it's just like me not having enough trust or faith in the political.
I mean, that would still be a political issue, though, because it's the politics' fault.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a difference between a political party being responsible for political gains and just somebody else on a part of society being an asshole.
Yeah.
Yep.
But either scenario I find is friggin' scary.
Yeah.
Because on one hand, you got somebody that legit putting other people's health at risk for whether it's boredom or lack of education or
whatever the
case may be. Or on the other hand, you got somebody that doing it on purpose to affect, like, for their own personal gain, most probably.
Mm-hmm.
So on either hand is not a cool situation.
Not a good look.
Yeah.
No matter what, it's not a good look for the island regardless.
So now, with that being said, instead of just like speculating and assuming what's going on or what's going wrong, what we could do on a positive note is come with suggestions on how to fix it. So this is something else I was taking off that was not part of the last.
It was part of the last conversation.
But
this was the last segment of the conversation from the last one. We actually introduced and talked about a couple solutions or ideas that could be used to try to, remedy the situation. And Kana, I'd give you the floor first. Let us know what do you think could be a solution.
I don't necessarily know a long-term solution because I did not study like waste management or sustainability to that extent. But from what I've seen, because I believe I said this on last week's episode, that I watched the Parliament meeting, and from what that's where I get the whole information with like what was supposed to be in a contract and all that kind of stuff, because it was stated then. I find security should be the first thing.
Stepping up security, actually making sure
not stepping up, actually putting security there. They're supposed to be in the contract. It's supposed to be 24 hour security, and it's supposed to be
24 cameras. I think it was.
There's supposed to be a minimum. It's supposed to be 24 hour security, and it's supposed to be a minimum between 6. I can't remember the exact number, but between 6 and 8. Minimum between 6 and 8 cameras, and that should be the first thing.
Bare minimum at least, yeah.
And that could go up quickly. You know, that could be a easy short-term solution. You check? So with that, I think that's something that could be implemented quick and would make a difference, especially if the whole thing is really arson.
Cause I was just gonna say that. Like, that solves the arson problem.
Then we know for sure was
at least we could at least rule out arson. Exactly. If that's the case, if you got surveillance on the place, see who did what, see what circumstances.
On that aspect, I find that's one thing. The other thing as well is, again, us as a community need to stop looking at the government to solve everything. Another issue, something we could, like, as a community, or I mean like St. Martin people, is start from home, Jed. Separating your trash from home. This is something I've been hearing for years because my brother. But I think we really going to start, especially like my family personally, going to start contributing to it. But it's definitely something schools, especially restaurants, because restaurants are the major contributors to the dump. It's definitely something that should be implemented, like, island-wide, I find. Because it's not just government problem. It's us having to deal with it, and we just only thinking government.
I feel like when it comes to the private institutions, I feel like that is something that's more of a government task to at least set the regulations and enforce that when it comes to the businesses.
For the business people at home.
I feel 100% what you're talking about, what we can do with, like, as citizens, as individuals and things when it comes to trash separation and things. I agree with you 100% on that.
But that I think that could be a more long term. That's more of a long term something as well.
What, the trash separation or the
trash separation? The trash separation, because it's not going to happen overnight. Let's be realistic.
It's definitely something that has to do. I think it's culture plays a big part in that. Like, I mean, there's a period of education that needs to go on, a serious kind of media campaign. I mean, there used to be stuff I remember from growing up seeing about take pride, don't throw it outside. Like, my mother had one of those little stickers on her fridge and things like that.
We probably had something like that too, if I'm mistaken.
And like, there were efforts and stuff like that.
Nature is our future, them kind of ones.
Yeah.
But it was never like having a beach cleanup once a month isn't enough. And there's many other ways for the community to get involved, I find personally. And either through the Nature Foundation or through like their own personal efforts. I mean, there's nothing wrong with just going around your neighborhood and cleaning up the garbage. I mean, you live there. Yeah. But it's to get people to actually do it.
Culture.
But culture is in what? Like, what do you mean by just culture?
There's the same culture where what's a man person going to work as a garbage man? Regardless of what the pay or benefits, even if I don't know what anything of that may be on St. Martin thing, I know this is very good. But how many St. Martin people do you see actually take up jobs as cleaners? People from St. Martin. Cleaner, like, and to me, I feel like, and even when you look at those beach cleanups, who is the majority of the people that you see that has come out to that beach cleanup? I know it sounds like I shitting on my people right now, but let's just be all the way real. Like, most of the time, whenever I see pictures from whether it's SXM Dude or the Leos, the Lions, whatever different non-profit it is that is be organizing beach cleanups and different things like that, majority of the members, first of all, in those organizations is not people that look like the atypical St. Martiner. It's like, I wouldn't say all. I'm not going to say that they don't have any black people in them, but most of them is Dutch citizens or whatever, are people from away and thing where they already have this mindset of recycling and these type of things, and they are a lot more quick to participate in these type of things versus the average St. Martiner. I feel like people from St. Dominic is the only people that I ever see in that.
I was just going to say, I think
St. Dominic people is the only people I ever see outside of like
the private schools.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I think that's why you feel that way, but it's kind of true. I mean, Academy, PSVE, MPC. I think MPC does do a couple things, man.
A couple of the various students who also happen to be exactly, they fall into the exact category of what I was talking about, because most of the people in Vario is like, I'm looking at my brother class and stuff like that. Black people, the higher you go in the education level, the less black people you see that. Marvel, Bayview sections in NBC, there's a lot more black people. Harvard is a decent amount and stuff like that still, but there you see more white people in the Harvard classes. And then when you go Bayview, it's way more the Dutch people and like.
So since we're on this whole solution thing, what we could do to change that? Then?
Change the culture of the island. Like I said, I feel like it starts with a serious education campaign, media campaign to spread awareness and different things. And aside from that, because that's one thing that's good, but this was a conversation me and Miguel was having. Like, there've been these buttons and the take pride, don't show it outside stickers and things like that, but still people will be throwing things out the window of a car, or school children in the school bus and things, throwing stuff out the window, littering in that kind of way. And I feel like that kind of littering, it needs enforcement now. And we need enforcement, basically. So whatever, there needs to actually be a consequence, first of all, because educating people and not still kind of hoping and relying on the goodness within people.
I'm pretty sure there's a fine now. I'm pretty sure there's a
that's what enforcement. I know there is a fine. There is a fine. But who do you know on St. Martin has ever gotten a fine for littering? Much less even paid it. Those people, I don't know anybody that even gotten it, but then even paying it. And this is what I mean, because in this country, you're getting €100-something boot for littering or whatever. And if you leave your garbage,
€60 boot for putting your foot on the seat in the train.
If you leave your garbage outside on the wrong day and stuff like that, you getting fined for them type of things. Like, that's the reason. That's definitely a reason people follow the rules in this country and actually go like participate in the trash separation and all of these things. There's not only consequences, but there's also incentives. Because, I mean, the basic things, when you look at the stats, the way you buy a bottle at Albertine or whatever, you pay, there's a little extra cents on the price, you bring it back. Like, that's rewards, that's reasons and incentives to give people. It's not just saying like, okay, St. Martin is bad people or whatever, but there's no structure to support to kind of help facilitate for that kind of behavior. There's no reason for people to go and think that way necessarily.
But that's that. But like you said, that's something we gotta start educating about. But since we,
I feel like that's another thing too, because similarly to like the environment and stuff like that just generally to me is something that lower income people ain't concerned about. I'm worried about how I can eat. I worry about like how I can get food tomorrow. You think I got time to care about like if the environment is dead in and
it's
like
true.
And I feel like that's another thing. When you have a large population of Samoan people who's living below the poverty line, there's serious poverty in Samoa. I remember there was a study a couple of years ago, an article that came out a couple of years ago, saying 75% of the island lives below the poverty line and stuff like that. When you have those kind of statistics, when your demographics of your island look like that, who you think the majority of the people struggling, trying to figure out how is we surviving and thing, I ain't thinking about little. You think that's my concern?
But it's true.
So that's why I feel educating is one thing, and there needs to be consequences, the enforcement and things like that.
We see all these things you hear saying make sense, and this goes back to what I was saying last week. There's not one solution.
No.
It has to be attacked from holistic. It really got to be
a holistic approach.
It got to be a divide and conquer something, Red, because it's not. You're not gonna be able to say, yeah, I'm gonna just be able to do this for a month, and then this. Okay, cool. It might help.
Divide and conquer might be not the right word to use. Not kind of sound like more division and split. No, we need unity and things like a complete.
No, but when I mean divide and conquer, I mean like there's no one solution. Like you have to educate them. Okay, if we're talking about the trash situation,
need a war on all fronts.
Exactly. You have to attack it from the education part. You have to do it from a practical side as well. And you have to include the society. You have to include the private sector. You have to include government. It's not just one solution.
Yeah, that's why divide and conquer was not a...
Yeah. That's why it's like we need a holistic approach. You got to look at it from as a whole.
Excuse my use of the
approach
analogy.
It there.
But then, so now my next question is just to get more, not worldwide, but Caribbean perspective of it. Y'all got this problem in Aruba?
We used to. We still kind of have a dump problem, but the problem with the dump is not that it's catching on fire every couple of months. The problem with the dump is just
if that was only our problem, it wouldn't be that bad.
But the problem is just the dump is getting full. So they were thinking of ways of making it unfull, which is not burning stuff. So in the beginning, what they did, in cahoots with one of the richest family on the island, they made a recycling plant. But it doesn't actually recycle. But what it does is it separates all of the trash and compresses it and then ships it off to Japan. So that's one of the ways that they are reducing waste that goes to the dump. Not everything you can compress, like rubber, certain stuff you can't use.
So mostly like cans and bottles and stuff like that.
Glasses, stuff like that.
Okay.
Another thing what happened last year, which I was really surprised by, is they banned plastic bags.
That's something
any plastic bags on the island. You want to buy something, even when you go into a store, you ain't getting a plastic bag.
That's another small thing that the community could start doing. I mean, I know there has been efforts in it and is growing.
How do you feel the community?
No, that's the government has to do it. The government has to ban it.
Yes, but the community could choose not to get the plastic bags either.
Yeah, but that sometimes you can't give people an option, especially on an island.
Going back to what I was saying, I forget when it was when I was talking about the user interface thing, the study I was doing. People are stupid. People are lazy. Like, that's just the kind of starting off point that you need to have in your head. This is you making an assumption and hoping that people out of themselves decide to make this moral choice. This is again why I say with the incentives and the consequences, dog. That what you talking about is a consequence. Is you have to adjust now because of the fact that, listen, we ain't even leaving it up to you. We taking the choice out of your hands completely because we know chances are you gonna go for convenience because people are stupid and lazy. Convenience beats everything, dog. Why do people spend more to shop at that Albertine when a Lidl is so much cheaper? Lidl further away.
That's true.
Like the obvious choice, the better option obviously would be to go to the Lidl because like a lot of the products is similar and stuff. Certain things you might have a brand or whatever that you can't get in Albertine versus the Lidl. But most things you can get, most products you get the same thing for cheaper. You get more at Lidl than you're paying for the price at Albertine because their packages normally bigger and things like that. But we still shop at the Albertine because it closed.
Yeah,
this is exactly what I'm seeing in the like. I have a bunch of bags in my house and I had to still pay for bags at Albertine and stuff like that sometimes. Why? Because I didn't take one with me. It's convenient if I just pay that price.
Yeah, but
this is the same way people on Samoa.
But you see, that same bag you buy in there, you could reuse that one. You're not going to throw that one away. Or are you going to do it that way?
Okay, but how much people in St. Martin have a bag with a bunch of bags in it the same way up here? I know in St. Martin, my mother had a sack with a bunch of other sacks, and every time she go to the Grand Marché or whatever, she had a space with like all the plastic sacks, and she would use those as her garbage things. Like my mother never used to buy garbage sacks. She would use the same thing that from that was her way, I guess, of recycling the things in that kind of way, but still is like.
And you have to keep in mind, right? Like, when you're banning plastic bags, doesn't mean you can't have bags. You can have paper bags. These bags will eventually just wither away.
Biodegradable.
Yeah, the plastic ones, they don't go away. So
they take a lot longer.
By decades.
I mean, it's a significant amount, but I mean, they do still degrade.
Because I mean, cause that was another thing. I've heard people talk about the green plastic or clean plastic and things like that, and then there's still a lot of issues regarding that. The supposed plastic the plastic that's supposed to decompose and things like that, supposed to be biodegradable. I saw there was studies and things that. There was still a lot of issues with that, and still from the fact that it's a polymer, the type of material, the type of chemical that plastics are, is just a tricky situation to really get it to decompose and everything naturally. Like you gotta consider other materials and stuff. But
like the first plastic bag that actually like is legit biodegradable in a sense that it doesn't even hurt the community at all is the hennep plastic bags.
Hemp. You speak in Dutch.
Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna be like, what the hell is hennep?
Hennep is Dutch for hemp.
Hemp is.
You see, that's another like area man could get into, because if man really has to do this whole legalizing, but I ain't gonna lead out. I gonna lead out one alone. I ain't gonna get into that.
That's another topic there.
We're approaching the 30-minute mark.
That is cool.
I know, but no. I mean, but
it's a different camera system. Yeah, man, we overstand. But no, that man, I want to get into that hemp thing now, because that's a whole. But
we could have that for all of the things that weed does that helps the world. That's not a topic for another day.
That's a really topic for next time. But what? So Aruba have an incinerator itself as well? Because that's another topic they was talking about in the parliament meeting for St. Martin. No, I'm just curious to see how
I can't speak on that because I didn't really. I don't know, but I would not be surprised.
Because this whole waste to energy thing is another potentially viable solution. But then like one minister was saying that it's not possible, that it's a myth and this and that, and then you have another minister saying that no, it is possible and we have the means and what to do it, so and so and so.
To my understanding regarding the waste to energy situation, it was always a possibility. It's just whether it makes sense for the island, because what it was saying is that for the waste to energy thing, it requires a certain amount of waste that St. Martin doesn't produce to make it profitable, to make the waste to energy plant profitable.
Doesn't have that.
Yeah, and it requires something of the cooperation of at least 6 other islands or something like that, sending their stuff to St. Martin to make the waste energy thing make sense.
There's also thing, I mean, I'm going to say it, but I don't know exactly the details of it, but supposedly like because of because of the way the dump site is located, they have like a huge amounts of like methane under the ground that could be converted into energy as well. How exactly, I don't know. That's something I guess I'm going to have to research.
Obscene amount.
Yeah.
Of like I'm almost positive that there is not even 2% enough. On a dump site on a small island.
I'm not well versed.
Yeah, I don't know the requirements on that either, so I can't jump in on that.
I'm sure of that.
That is just something that had came up again in the parliament meeting. So I was curious to see how that was, and I did let me not say I do some research, make it sound like I actually sat down and went thing. But I asked around, and according to what I've been told, that proposition already has been
denied.
Not denied, but brought up from since 2012 or 2014.
They've been talking about this waste to energy plan. Like since from this part, this ain't nothing new. Like for years they've been talking about this. But like I said, it's been due to the unstable governments and stuff like that that nobody has ever been able to execute anything regarding the dump. There's been many proposals and stuff like that about what's the solution was, and like that's what France was talking about. Like, I'm tired of hearing what's this solution. Like we need to solve the problem. Like, I don't care who got a better plan, who got, like, stop the problem. That's what needs to happen.
I was talking to my sister about herself, and that's an interesting something, because I was saying that, yeah, you know, I feel what Fran's saying on that one, like this whole, oh yeah, who's to blame, who's this and that. I mean, it might be important in general, okay, cool, but I mean, the health to me of the community is a little bit more important, and solving the problem is a little bit more important. But then at the same time, my sister was like, yeah, but at the same time, because it's parliament and because they have red tape and there's a bureaucracy and all that kind of crap, they need to have accountability for for certain things. But I was like, yeah, but which one takes precedence over the other one? Which one as a community you find is a little bit more important to deal with at this moment in time?
That's why I think that what needs to happen in St. Martin is just everybody just chooses one government, like votes for one, let them get the majority, which is going to be a double-edged sword. But at least something will happen, you know.
But you know, now the question is, who's going to be that party?
Bye.
I saw some people talking about the idea of, like, because I saw a lot of people talking about they're happy to see the amount of young people that are participating in this election and stuff like 45. That. I saw a lot of people celebrating that aspect, and I saw a lot of people saying that it would have been even better if all of those millennials or the young people or whatever it is they want to call them, like if they had formed their own party so that they could be elected as like a majority thing. And I'm like,
You see, okay, I
still believe that look at the person.
Yeah,
like, it doesn't have to be like if you're 45, if you're older, then don't.
I'm gonna be real honest with our whole. Cause I mean, I had say a statement there at the end of the podcast last week that didn't really get picked up, and I'm going to reamp that statement.
Reiterate. Oh, okay, cool.
I'm going to change it a bit, because what I said at first was vote young, and while I still stand by that, I have to add, vote young and do your research on that young person. Because just because a person young don't necessarily mean they, number one, right for the island, number two, got
anything to contribute.
Yeah, anything to positively contribute. So don't leave age be a thing.
The sole deciding factor.
Exactly.
Yeah. If the man just saying, yo, I'm gonna legalize weed on the island, and that's the only thing you're talking about, think about it, but don't vote for him.
I mean, he would pique my interest, but I mean, if that's all he got to bring to the table.
I saw the political slogan recently: "Don't be doting when you're voting," and I was like, "Yo, that right there is good. I like that one. Don't be doting when you're voting."
I don't think that come from a specific party, but
I know who it was. I think I don't remember where it was. I see it on Facebook.
If I'm mistaken, that come from Super.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
I think that was a personal something from
Either
Super.
Way,
but
that's a great slogan. Don't be voting when you vote.
It definitely still stands, but like with the whole voting thing as well, is there's a lot of new people, which I like to see that come out, you know, that coming out and, you know, trying this whole political thing apart from old or young, regardless. There's a lot of new faces, which is good, because then I don't have to keep complaining about the same people being elected. But I kind of do have a feeling that it's still going to, like, we're not going to get a majority there. I don't feel like that's going to happen.
The problem with a lot of parliaments in general, in the government, or whatever
parties, you mean?
Yeah, parties, they always promise a lot of stuff to friends and family. And that's going to be the biggest problem in any politics. Especially that parties and things are a very young concept still in St. Martin. So you have people that are comfortable with the way they're living, and a lot of people, even though there's a lot of problems, they are living in their own bubble. So
that's true.
So there's going to be a lot of people that, even though they know this man ain't 100% legit, they're going to vote for this man because this man helped them family with this, and this.
That's, especially for a small community like St. Martin, a lot of that going to happen.
I feel like that takes me, this was another conversation I was having with somebody else, and it makes me reiterate some of the facts I was saying earlier. When you have a population that is severely poor and uneducated, what kind of political literacy do you expect from that population? If 75% of the population lives below the poverty line,
and that was before Irma,
you understand? These, like, it's people who just worrying about the next day and survive. How am I going to have enough food to feed my children to the end of the month and thing? I am cool with a fridge, dog. Like, if you promising me a fridge, are you paying 2 of my bills and stuff that I like? That's why you have these situations where it's like, yo, just do me this little favor and you got my vote type of thing. Because you have an politically illiterate population on a large part.
If we were seeing that so rampant in the past, like, let's say, decade, what will happen now, Viking? Because now it's even worse. Now people worse off with post-Irma.
Bye.
So then, because could you not agree that whole vote buying thing is one of the reasons that we're in the situation where we're in? Okay.
Because you have a politically illiterate people that just...
If we going on that, this is a very, like, sad narrative. Because, I mean, we're not going anywhere. I mean, we're not going to progress in this from these elections either. Because it's the same crap that's going to happen, if not on a bigger scale. Because even more people now in that position.
I definitely hear what you're saying, and it's a legitimate fear, I feel like, to be like, bye. The current path we're going on ain't looking necessarily too promising. But I ain't got the answers. I'll be 100% like, I ain't got the answers.
And that's why I hear racking my brain over, because like what we could do, Jad?
Education. I am a firm believer in the power of education, and not just like our education system needs changes in my way. Yeah, but like so much changes.
But like you've been saying, a lot of the solutions that we came up with in the past, like 20-15 minutes, has been brought up at least in the past 5 years, and still hasn't caught on yet. So what it is we're not doing then?
It's like what homie just said. Regarding the things that need to happen for some man is you need a government to last longer than a year to start. Because ain't nothing is going to be done if we keep changing minister, they ain't, regardless if you want finger point and blame and whoever say this one messed up and this one like, somebody needs to be able to stay in there and actually be able to work for a decent amount of time so you can be like, okay, cool. I want to at least be able to see a smooth transition of power. To me, that's a great step forward for St. Martin, because that's one of the integral parts of a democracy. If you can't truly be calling yourself a democracy if there is never a peaceful transition of power. That is key. Not this sabotaging type of thing. Is like,
yeah, and that is definitely one of the major problems. So because one party would start a project, whether it's the hospital or
let them at least finish the project, then we could say it was trash.
Exactly.
Finish what was he was trying to do, then we can sit and evaluate and judge and like
that the proposition would be approved, everything would be good. For some reason, whether it's ship jumping or due to lack of confidence in government does fall, a whole new party in there, somebody else will be part of it. Like, you know what? No, I don't like this. I want to do something myself, so we can do a whole new something.
And we start from scratch again, and then y'all gonna get thrown down, and then we start from scratch again, and we never get to build, we never get to progress, because
we don't even get paid for a sign, much less to build anything.
But
it starts there, in my opinion.
But it starts. I find that's definitely one of the starting points. But then, does not necessarily mean too that rules within the parliament has to change as well, especially with that whole ship jumping and causing government to fall and all that kind of crap.
My dilemma is who the F is going to change these rules, because the people that have the power to change the rules benefit the rules the exact way they are. The people who have the power to change them ain't never going to change them, because that's a detriment to themselves.
If they change it, they will make it worse.
So now my question is, everybody, even me doing this whole young thing, right? Fucking. But yeah, with this whole young thing, right? Do we really think and feel that young people are gonna do any different?
That's why I said you have to look at the person. You can't, and don't exclude old people as well, because there's old people that also can contribute. But you just have to look at the person, because you could have young people with bad intentions,
Like my issue with the whole thing of just voting young is I feel like it's like what you say. You gotta look at the person, not just this voting young thing. I feel like there's certain people that turning off their brain because they see that this is a young, and I'm like, yo, how many of these young candidates have a political science degree? Do any of them? Like, we can just end up in the same situation because we have a bunch of unqualified people because of the fact that they're young. We vote for them now.
But
like, who actually understands the political system?
Is it any better? Is it any better? Okay, let me ask this then. Is it any better than what we currently have?
I feel like people at this point, we want change, and I understand that that's where the crying out and like the call for the young politician is. I understand that.
So what do you hold more value of? Young and possible new experience, I mean, inexperience and new projects, or
it's like what say. I want to see. I still judging the character. I still judging the person at the end of the day. Like along with all of that, because if you don't have no kind of like, to me, I feel like people on Smart take politics as a joke, dog. It's like, you don't just wake up one day and decide, I want to be a politician. No, there's things that need to be done to at least ensure that you're an electable candidate, in my opinion. Like, how much people in parliament we got that can't even speak, dog? Basic grammar. Making a fool of themselves in parliament. And your one job of a politician is to talk.
Okay.
That's your primary function as a parliamentarian, and you can't even speak.
Since you bring that up, okay. Before I ask this question, define what you mean by speak. You mean like proper grammatical English, or does that necessarily have to be a prerequisite?
Yes.
Especially with what? Let me finish once. What I mean, does it have to be a prerequisite? Is it not possible to speak Samaritan English?
You can speak Samaritan English and do it properly, because that's how Tio and Sarah to speak. The two people in parliament that I would definitely say these people know how to speak. They can give a speech, they can talk. Tio, Sarah, Frankie, and Mr. Myers. In my opinion, those are the only people in parliament that can speak.
So why you say Mr. Myers, but you can't
Frankie Myers, whoever. Whoever you want to refer to be. In my opinion, those are the only three people in parliament that I see speaking that can speak
if you want
properly, and like,
I understand what you mean, but they ain't the only truth.
The amount of grammatical errors, dog, that I see from everybody else in that part. Don't get me started on friends, dog.
I mean, you would at least hope that people within the parliament are well educated.
That's what I'm thinking.
That's another story.
Lacking a college degree, can't even speak. People can't read don't speak Dutch.
So now, but come on. This is my thing now. Does it have
Our parliament is a joke, dog.
Does it have to be a prerequisite as well for you to speak Dutch?
Yes, because the laws and everything are written in Dutch.
Okay.
And to be able to take advantage of the laws that are within the Dutch Union, you need to be able to understand the language. That's how certain countries take advantage of the laws that they are given.
So now, with that being said, can't I just say and get a hire translator?
No,
because you need to read the subject, you need to understand it. You can have a translator translate it, but
that's what I mean. If I just have somebody there, or I have people within my cabinet that can speak Dutch, why I necessarily have to do it?
Because when you're a leader, let's just look at it from this point of view, right? Let's say the leader of St. Maarten is defending St. Maarten within the Netherlands. Something happened.
I can't speak Dutch. Yeah.
And you go into the Netherlands. You're still part of the Netherlands. You go into the Netherlands, but you can't speak the language. That's already, they're gonna look at you. They're gonna be like,
we can't take you serious.
Yeah.
And for them, man, like no. Let's say the translator is a Dutch translator. It ain't somebody that you got confirmation. You don't know what they're saying. You just in there, and it's like you just putting all your faith in this translator. And there's always certain things that he might interpret a little differently than what was actually said. If you can't, if you're not able to check for yourself and be like, okay, is this what this man telling me correct?
So now, again, another hypothetical. Then, if you had to be in a position to actually vote, and you had two choices. Well, I mean, one of your choices is somebody who you don't have too much faith in, but know the political system and can speak Dutch, versus somebody who you have faith in, who you think would actually be beneficial for the country and who have better ideas that you resonate with. Which one do you choose then?
No, but that's obvious. But does this like?
No, but it's not obvious based on all your arguments. It's not
because
obvious.
what you just said is like, is someone that you believe. Like, if you're asking me someone that I believe in, then that person has to be one, qualified, have papers, knows what he's doing, has an understanding of what he's doing, and also then
but I can have an understanding of the political system and what you're doing and not speak the language.
Yeah, look, true, but
so that's my question.
But at least, having the papers.
I have Dutch papers. You know I can't speak it.
But you talking about papers for the island or a degree?
Degree.
Okay, a political, you mean like a political science degree?
Yeah, something to show that you educated. To me, it doesn't necessarily have to be a political science degree. I would like to see that because to show that you understand political science. Because if you're going for a minister position or whatever, and you have I don't know, maybe
environmental or something.
Yeah, you got a background in sustainability and solar energy and different things like that. It could be
and
cool.
I'm not saying you have to know Dutch. But I mean, that would be preferable.
I feel, to me, that's a prerequisite. I know we do not speak the language. I know we do not speak the language.
Now.
For me, it's a prerequisite. I feel like it should be, because I don't care what the general population is doing or what the leaders of a country are supposed to be of a higher echelon in some way. They're supposed to be like better people and
the top of the society.
It's not supposed to be in a situation where it's like, yo, Joe Blow from down the road is who in Parliament next week. Like, no, where's the preparation? Are you even taking this serious? Like, show investment that you're going to take handling our country serious. If you never even went to Toastmasters to learn how to give a proper public speech and thing, and like, because listen, I love Artwell, but I'm sorry, I wish he would gain some confidence. Like, you can see the man is not comfortable speaking in public, dog. The stuttering, the stammering and stuff like that, I understand.
But that don't come with experience, man. You find so?
Not necessarily, because if you was in Toastmasters and different organizations and thing in preparation, if you look at other countries in the world, dog, they ain't just electing any and anybody. These people have some kind of credentials and thing. I wouldn't say all countries. It
depends. America let us down on that one.
But imagine if Trump used to speak Spanish, though. Like, would you see that happen in America? People that can't speak the language that the country is like ruling in, for example.
Yeah.
Like, that's just how ridiculous to me it is. Whether I like Dutch, whether I speak Dutch in my everyday life or not, to me that is irrelevant. The people who lead in my country needs to understand the laws and be able to at least speak that language.
But the schools,
be able to converse.
The schools in St. Martin are they not?
They got
Dutch
and English schools. They got Dutch and English schools.
The public schools, you have to learn Dutch. Yeah. The private schools, no.
So I'm assuming most people go to the private schools then?
No.
There's like three, and there's mostly people with the wealthier background.
There's three private schools, and one is like a
medical.
No, one is that means there's four, because the other one, Montessori, is also a private school.
So
CIA, LU, Montessori.
Yeah, CIA, LU, Montessori, and I don't know if you consider AUC a private school.
So you would say that the majority of people at least understands Dutch.
What?
The majority of people in St. Martin at least understands Dutch.
That's tricky.
That's a tricky question. But first, we have to establish what you consider the majority. Are we also considering illegals? Because that
how much illegals live in the island though?
Yeah.
A lot.
I mean, from what I know, the official on the Dutch side, the official number from census statistics and stuff like that, or the population of man is supposed to be 40,000. But
Since when?
Economy was like 30 or 40,000 from the Dutch side.
Dutch side.
You know, I know, but I mean, even since when? I know I do my thing on. I had to do my script on that recently, and I see something like 70,000.
According to me, that number is including illegals.
But no, to me that was just supposed to be locals.
If that's including illegals,
or according to me, that's the number from the full island, and then it's something to like 100,000. I remember reading something like it's 70,000 or something like that for the whole island, and including all undocumented citizens, it might be something close to like 100,000 or so. Okay. Maybe I got the numbers completely wrong.
Double checking that right now.
Fact checking. You see that way? That's why we have a new team member.
But you see, that's the thing. According to me, St. Martin don't have a proper. I know some people working in these statistical departments, and I ain't want to undermine the work that they're doing. So I ain't want to necessarily just talk out my ass. But
say what you gotta say.
The current population of St. Martin is 40,000.
Dutch side or the whole island?
387. Hold on.
Mm-hmm. That's not like a Dutch side something though.
And
it's telling me the whole country.
What's the spelling of St. Martin? I mean, that's sometimes an indication. If it's spelling the Dutch way.
Martin.
That's the Dutch side.
The Dutch side. Oh, that's the Dutch side.
No. Yeah, that's
two A's. Yeah.
AARTEN.
Yeah,
that's Dutch side. So okay. So based on that small little research we do, that we could 40,000.
40,550.
Alright, we can say 40,000 people. I can't remember exactly where he was going with this.
So if you use your argument, then 70,000 minus 40, that means that around 30,000 illegals.
Yeah, that's why we was talking about them.
30, yeah. So 30,000. Oh yeah, so this is where we come from. If most of the island can speak Dutch, yeah. Okay, so I mean we talking about 30,000.
That's almost 100% of the legals. You that's 10,000 shy.
Yeah.
from just being equivalent to how many people are registered on the island. That's crazy.
I can guarantee you at least 75% of that population don't speak Dutch.
But yeah, I mean, because if you were to look at the country of origin, or island of origins that most of the people would be coming from, you got Dominica, St. Lucia, Haiti, Santo Domingo, the Dominican Republic. Like, all of these is non-Dutch speaking countries. Majority of the surrounding islands, the only people I would think that coming in to St. Martin from a Dutch speaking country would be people from the other Netherlands, Antilles and stuff. And for some reason, I don't think they'll be coming in illegally.
Yeah,
if you're from the Netherlands, Antilles, and things,
you could just or you could almost just walk in.
So it's like a good bit. But that's why I bring up the whole question of being able to speak Dutch and having being able to run for parliament, because a lot of the people
all it does is shows how bad we run in our island currently in terms. How is it that everybody in the French side can speak French? The amount of don't matter where they come from, people that you just run into on the French side, they know how to speak French. But on the Dutch side, we just like it's a free for all. America influence coming.
So then you definitely not in the whole favor of changing our language of instruction to English.
I don't know. It's debatable because I do understand I do see the benefits in it, because I personally feel like the language and like they both colonizers' language. None of them is our original language and so in our way, but I do. It's a common tactic in certain ways to keep people back. It's like an extra obstacle, basically, having that language barrier and think the fact that it's not only about how intelligent are you, but do you get this language? And I've seen many people and stuff like that are intelligent people. I've heard about from like my mother, who's been a teacher and stuff like that. And the school that she teaches in is majority students from Haiti and Dominican Republic and stuff that go to that school. Is one of the public schools. And she's told me about many instances where you have intelligent people and stuff like that, smart people. The only reason they're in these schools and they end up in BVO Academy or something is because is one of that, and they don't get the language. That is, you could see as intelligent, bright people out there, but just they don't speak English or they don't speak Dutch or whatever. So they end up in these schools, they push back and things, and I feel like that's another stumbling block for a lot of people here. In terms like, I can only speak for myself regarding this, but I know for me, it's a lot easier for me to like. My college experience, the minute I switched to an English school, it was so much better for me. I felt so much more at home, so much more comfortable and everything versus me being in Dutch schools. And I did 3 Dutch studies, 1 English study, and I felt like it was an instant change as soon as I switched to English. This was my first time being educated in English, and I just feel like it makes so much more sense. I never liked the language Dutch, so for me, like, it was definitely a barrier and stuff like that. I never like speaking it. I was never confident in my ability to speak it. So if we're in a group dynamic or something and we're trying to exchange ideas and stuff like that, you just looked at as a stupid person because you can't articulate your ideas as well as all the other Dutch people and things. Even I was like, yo, I know he's smarter than this motherfucker.
But then if you saying that a prerequisite for a parliamentarian is to be able to speak Dutch, then you also should have a problem with the language of instruction being changed to English, because then that means even less people.
To me, it's just a simple thing. We gotta get shit together. We don't know what it is we're doing. I feel like we don't know what it is we're doing at this point. Are we doing English or Dutch? We need to pick one and work on it to make it actually what it is.
I agree.
That's my issue. Is like, no, we're saying it's Dutch, but then we ain't really enforcing it and things like that and doing it probably to ensure that all our citizens are fluent Dutch speakers and things like that. Because they might understand it, but they're not fluent Dutch speakers.
No. Even the
my
ones
Dutch was garbage.
Even the ones coming from the Dutch public schools. I mean, unless you, like King was saying earlier, unless you're in like the VVOs and them kind of ones, then your Dutch gonna be up to par.
Even then,
the ones who from VVO, when they come up here, from the stories I've heard, the ones that they come up here, it'll be like, yo, my Dutch was completely like trash.
The thing is, like it needs to be enforced from like you ain't gonna be able to, I'm gonna say save, but I don't mean it in a life or death situation, but you ain't going to save the older generations now. That already passed. If you want the Dutch to be better, it has to be start with the youth, and it has to be enforced from young. Then it's going to be easier when they grow up, because then they already been introduced with the language.
But I find that's a good thing too, because I mean, languages could just be beneficial to your child.
Speaking more languages is always a better thing. Like, I'm happy that I'm able to speak 4 languages. That's like,
I wish not only my mother was more on my case about this whole language thing, but I wish I myself realized how important it was. I should be able to speak 4 languages too, from Dutch to Spanish, French, Yeah, and English. I mean, including English. I'm supposed to be fluent in 4 languages. Cause I had all 4 of them from since like private school. Primary school. I just didn't give a crap.
To me, I feel like the way our education system, I feel like English, Dutch, and French need to be all included from the primary school level, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like English. Yes, exactly. Because whether we like it or not, we are Dutch and French. And I feel it's ridiculous that it's like, okay, I can't say the island can't communicate with other half. Cause I mean, we still speak in English and stuff like that. But I just feel like they could be a lot closer unification. They could be. I don't know. I don't like the separation. I don't like the separation of Dutch and French, man. It's stupid in my opinion.
Yeah, and it hinders a lot of things. Like I see with the whole Irma thing. You tell me because it's a French territory, I can't ask the people from the French side to come and help, and they closing the borders. They have ability to close the borders on one island.
It's stupid, dog. It's like
I've never. So the border of St. Martin, right?
It's not an official border. It's just a road, and they have a monument next to it telling you that okay, welcome to the French side or welcome to the Dutch side.
Yeah.
There's no control. There's no like boom or nothing that has to be lifted up. There's no checks, nothing like that.
They at one point in time they was going to do that. From what I understand, they was going to put the whole border and boom thing, had to pay a toll and all that kind of crap.
Nonsense.
Yep.
On the size of that island, nonsense. It makes no sense.
I think what should happen with St. Martin is the same thing that they're doing is it in Ireland? I think it's separated in European Union and England.
Mm-hmm.
Is it?
You're talking about like with the Brexit situation and thing? I don't know what Ireland
there's one part of England has like a separation of Ireland, like UK and EU. But they all live on this one big island. It's not a Caribbean island.
I see what you're saying.
But they have treaties that certain stuff. Okay, look, we know it's separated, but we're going to work together because it's different.
But I think I don't know. I hopefully post Irma like something like that comes about. I see there was an article that was printed last week that the French and the Dutch side is trying to communicate more and stuff like that. Compared to like the past year or years, so it seemed like they're starting to be a little bit more cooperation. How far that cooperation going to go and how long it's going to last is a whole different story.
Although I will say, I mean, for certain in certain like there's good and bad to someone being Dutch and French, because in a way we do have 2 mainlands people that could potentially assist us in time of need.
Okay, but the Dutch not gonna help the French and the French not gonna help the Dutch.
Yeah, but the Dutch can help the Dutch and the French can help the French. Because according to me, there was French Marines and stuff like during Irma, there was French Marines on the island, there was Dutch Marines, and they both potentially have like more resources and stuff that they could send more aid. But they like if the French side send however much aid they send in, or France send however much aid they want to send, and the Dutch send their aid and stuff like that. It is beneficial to kind of have 2 backers in that perspective for like, especially when it comes to negotiating on a global scale and things like that, because Dutch kind of speaks on the Dutch speak on behalf of St. Martin and things like that. Like who on the island on St. Martin itself is representing St. Martin on a global scale? It's like the Dutch kind of speaks first in those like
but that's because we still like a country within the Kingdom of the Netherlands. So
and in terms of that,
and if he wasn't that, then we wouldn't be getting listened to. That's what I say. That's what I feel is like that's the good, but for the people on the island type of thing, for life on the island, I feel like it slows it down due to the bureaucracy and the red tape and whatnot.
Of course.
So it does hinder certain common sense decisions. I'd be like, but yo, this should not be an issue. But it's like,
but that's the thing is either we accept it or we don't. So it's just like what you're saying with the language. Is either we accept that it's Dutch and we try to properly enforce it, or we say, yo, we moving this to the English section, and we have to deal with all the trials and tribulation that comes with switching over a whole country practically to a different language. Well, at least the language of instruction. That gonna be a whole different something as well, and they gonna come good and bad with that.
Yeah, and I wonder what the Netherlands would do in that situation.
I would. That's a good question.
If you change the language of instruction, you mean?
To English, yeah. To me, it don't make sense. If you
say, like, well, no more money for you.
Not only that, if you don't send your children Holland, then.
Yeah, because then,
See,
that's gonna be
that's another reason why I do. On one hand, understand that, I want the language of instruction to change to English, because in my opinion, I feel like that allows for more regional development, more regional focus and things, so that you don't gotta send him to the Netherlands. We studying on the island, or we studying like somewhere in the region, go St. Thomas or whatever. Like,
how are the universities in general, like around the island, like the options? What were the options like before you decided to come to the Netherlands to study? What were the other options, excluding the States, because that wasn't an option for me. That's financially exactly not available, that was not an option for a large margin of people.
But there was no other. I was not studying in the Caribbean.
Like,
but maybe that's ignorant for me, because I didn't do any research about it.
Yeah, I will say that. Like, I didn't even look into it, because I know there are some people that just leave and go Curacao or whatever and other places, but I don't know. Holland, in my opinion, Holland was my only option, basically. I went to a Dutch school. Like, I wasn't thinking that I was going to switch to an English system and think. I was in the Dutch system my whole life. So, Holland seemed like the only logical option, especially considering the fact that you get duo and whatnot and all that. So,
yeah, they're going to change too, though. But,
yeah, that been changing, especially the whole, like, loan, was a grant, was giving, man.
Hey, I'm going to drop out for 1 second.
That's a whole...
I need to use the toilet.
Yeah, but, I think we should be wrapping up anyway. Like, we just hit the hour mark. So I think that's... Like, we probably covered this topic. I don't think we need to touch on nothing else or add too much really to this, so...
I believe... Yeah.
So you're telling me to hold it in before we wrap up?
5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So again, with that being said, like always, we'd like to thank everybody for sticking through this episode, whether you looked at it or you just listened. We appreciate it regardless. If you have anything else you would like us to talk about, any specific topic you would like us to discuss, leave us know on our social media, all our 3 of our personal social medias, or you can hit up the LinkUp Instagram, Facebook page. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, the LinkUp Podcast. You can just type that in the search bar and you can see us one time. If you have anybody specific, any guests you would like us to have on the show, to have either a specific topic or a specific conversation, leave us know as well. Yeah.
And with that,
Wait.
We are working. What's our chat to you?
Look. First of all, to all my fellow Homo sapiens, if there's something you want to add, like if you heard something you disagree with or you agree with, or you have another topic or view of it, just comment it down below. Let us know.
Yeah,
we'll read through it and bring it up to the next podcast. We'll look over it.
If we feel it's relevant.
Yeah. So don't be shy. Just let us know if whatever, even if the angle of the camera is wrong. If it's something, anything, just let us know.
Yeah, man. At this stage, we'll take what we get.
We appreciate our comments. And with that, we'll see you the next time we link up.
Bless up.